I first got saved, I didn't stop smoking weed, I didn't stop drinking, I didn't stop having sex out of marriage when I first got saved. I didn't know this, it was a gradual change. I didn't know. My buddy's like, hey, you're out there preaching about the Word and you're standing on the corner smoking weed. That doesn't make any sense. And so the Lord started kind of convicting me about things. But you know, I didn't just wake up and start speaking to people. You know, I was addicted to crack cocaine, and how that happened, you know, it's just a long story of built up things through my life. And, you know, growing up when I was young, you know, I grew up in a single household. My dad ended up leaving my mom. My mom went to school, so it was a single mother household. She went to college, got her engineering degree. And after that, you know, she met a man, basically. And it was cool, you know, when you're young and you don't have a father figure, you like to have a father figure. And so this was Dad. So my mom ended up marrying the gentleman. Anyways, he just ended up being really abusive. He beat me real bad when I'd get disciplined. He'd lock me in my room. He wouldn't let me come out except to eat. I really didn't play with a lot of people outside. Became suicidal. Just a lot of things at such a young age, probably my son's age. I was about 10, 12 years old when all this stuff was going on. Wow. And so I didn't know how to deal with it. You know, I'd tell my mom, hey Mom, Dad's beating me, and she's going, shut up, you just don't want me with it, you know. And so now I'm building animosity towards my mother, going through all of this. Wow. And you know, all my friends are out there and they know that this guy, you know, sometimes he'd have to put a glove on to discipline me because he didn't want to put marks on his hands. Growing up, I remember one day, you know, I was in my room and I was trying to be like, you know, like, why isn't my mom listening to me? So I went to go hang myself in my room window. And thank God, you know, when I saw my mom come down the road, I'm like, I'll show her. You know, when she comes down this road, I'm going to kick this chair out from me and I'm just going to hang myself. That's it. And so I did, and I saw her coming and kicked the chair out, and the rod broke, and I fell on the ground, and I was just like, gosh, dang it, man, like, I can't even kill myself, you know, like, what the heck? So anyways, but when I was that age, there was a woman in the church that used to tell me and say, Shannon, God is going to do awesome things with you. And I'm like, well, I'm not even in this greatness for God to do anything good with me now. And so I just kind of stayed in my stuff. And then eventually, you know, my stepfather, he had choked me so bad that he had left marks on my neck. My mother had came home, and I was really upset. I almost died, actually. And she saw these marks on my neck, and she ended up leaving him. She told me I'd never have to worry about him again, which I was very thankful for. And so, but what happened was, is there's all these cuts, you know what I mean, all these wounds, you know, and wounds take time to heal. And I didn't know, and so, you know, me and my mother split for 6 months. I had to go live with this family, and she had to go live in this abuse shelter for about 6 months or so. And so during that time, I didn't see my mom, communicate with her, anything, because the bad part about it was my stepfather was a police officer. Wow. And so what made it worse is he had made threats to kill us. So we kind of had to stay hidden. And so when they took his, and after this, the city or whatever, they actually took all his gun permits, took all his firearms and everything. But when we moved back to the house was empty. He took everything. He took our beds, he took dishes, it was like moving into a brand new house, nothing in it. Wow. And luckily we had a church who supported us through it, and they brought us everything that we needed. Wow. But going through that now, so I'm back in the same situation, but now I have my sister, my mom, and me. And then all of this hurt. And so, you know, it just started with just, you know, I was getting high, and you know, then I dabbled a little bit with cocaine, and then, you know, my buddy's like, hey, you know, we should start selling weed. And I'm like, oh, wow, does that mean I don't have to get a job if I do that? You know, and yeah, so, you know, and it started with just the little things. And what's amazing is as much as you can plant good seeds in yourself, you can also plant bad seeds in yourself and water them, or your friends or your surroundings, who you're surrounding yourself with, can water those seeds and it can manifest. So a lot of times I say, you want me to define you, let me see your friends and I'll define the kind of person that you are. And that is true in most cases. And so my friends were defining who I was and watering these bad seeds that I was allowing them to plant in me. Because when we all face it, we can't blame anybody for where we're at a lot of times. Except for children. Sometimes the parents, of course. But when we get older, there's no such thing as blaming somebody for where I'm at. You got to take ownership. And so as I started realizing this and becoming this dope pusher, this drug guy, you know, and started, you know, then I came up with this idea. I said, hey, you know, let's sell some cocaine and make even more money. Yeah, and let's get some baking soda and rock it up and really do it right. And so it was cool. Yeah, you know, I had all the money and all this and all that. Wow. But what happened was, you ever heard that term, don't get high off your own supply? I sure did. And when I did, I became addicted overnight. Wow. Sit still. I came addicted over it. Sorry about that. That's bad in me. Anyway, so I became addicted within a matter of, oh my gosh, months. In 6 months, I lost everything. I lost my marriage. I lost all my children. I wasn't allowed to see my children anymore. I lost everything. And I had nothing. I was homeless. My wife was just so ready for me to go. And out of the blue, his grandmother was telling me about this place called the Dream Center. And so I'm like, yeah, you know, and this guy, man, he used to aggravate me so much. His name was Ken. He's like, hey, you want to go out to the Dream Center? You need to come to the Dream Center. And you know how he is. He's, come. I'm like, man, this dude. It's kind of like the persistent widow. I'm just going to go so he'll quit calling me. And so I did. I went out to the Dream Center. And what ended up happening, though, is I had developed some heart issues. I've had some heart attacks and strokes in the past.
Wow.
And so I had developed some heart issues, completely healed from that, though.
Praise God.
I couldn't stay at the Dream Center program because of my issues and how serious it was. So I was actually forced to live on Skid Row in a mission for about a year for my recovery. But it was actually good that I did that because I was actually seeing what I was doing to people and myself. I saw a lot of people who were hooked on drugs. And you know, I remember once I went to the bathroom, I had to drag this dead guy who overdosed in the bathroom. We had to drag him out the bathroom just so I could use the restroom. And then we called the coroner, and this is how LA is. If anybody's ever lived out there, it took the coroner like an hour to get there. It didn't make sense to me.
Wow.
But I had to see this stuff, so I knew what was going on in my life. And all this time, this woman kept telling me, Shannon, you're going to be great. You're going to be speaking to people. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing that. And I'm like, man, I'm living on Skid Row in a mission, you know, trying to kick dope. What the heck are you talking about, lady? You know, but she was so persistent with telling me this.
Wow.
And so I started actually just volunteering at the Dream Center back and forth. And I told my buddy, I said, one day I'm going to work there. He goes, you mean you're going to be a volunteer? I said, no, I'm going to work there. I'm going to be on staff. They're going to pay me. And he just laughed. Because, man, the Dream Center, they hardly pay anybody. They have a very skeleton crew and a lot of volunteers that come in there. They don't pay a lot because it's a nonprofit, and it's hard to pay a salary for a lot of people like that. So I started volunteering, and then, I just got tired of living on Skid Row. So I was like, well, I'm just going to put an application to just live there. Because if you're an intern, you live there, and food, clothes, everything's included when you live there. And I was like, man, it would be so much better to be off Skid Row. My buddy laughed at me and said, yeah, right. He's like, dude, they only have, you're on Skid Row. And I went ahead and applied. And a month later, Alicia Logan, which you guys know, Alicia, she emailed me back and said, hey, when can you come? They accepted my application. So that was my first step of, I did great things even though I was living on Skid Row.
Wow.
My persistence of going to the Dream Center, doing little things.
Wow.
People were watching I didn't even know. There's people watching you guys and you don't even realize it.
Come on.
Honestly. So if you mention God,
Wow.
somebody's going to watch you. I'm not saying that they're pointing their finger at you,
Yeah.
but you have to live up to this name God. Because why? Because you can slander His name and not even realize you're doing it.
Come on.
And so, and I'm not saying that to put any pressure on any new Christians or anything like that. So, I go out to the Dream Center, I'm doing this, I'm working in the warehouse, and I'm just taking you guys through the little things that I did to become to where I'm at now. And not that I'm a great person or anything, but I'm talking about I did with what I had with where I was at, and that's how I got to where I am now. You can be confident, so confident that the man that's leading this church is truly led by the Lord.
Come
and
on.
he has the support. Do you guys know that the Dream Center blessed him out?
That's right.
That means he has the support of other people. It's not just, you guys are not alone. The Dream Center stands behind you. If Pastor Matthew blesses somebody out, that means I stand behind your decision what the Lord's calling you to do.
Come on.
And so basically, if something happens, Pastor Miller can go to Pastor Matthew and say, hey, I'm going to take you back to this. Bless this out. We need a little help. And I'm not saying I don't know what it would be, but
Come on.
when you get blessed out, that's like saying, I approve of what you're doing, therefore I stand behind you.
Come
That's
on.
what blessing is. That's
Wow.
what blessing's all about.
That's amazing. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, so I just want to encourage you guys that you don't have to wait. The biggest thing that I've been learning about being a man is that there's no formula to how to be a man in the family. A lot of chaos is created in the families because the man is not assuming the position. Therefore, it forces the woman to assume the position of the man, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what I would encourage a lot of the men do is to assume the position according to the Word of God, the protector of the household, of the children.
Yeah.
It goes, children, your wife, man. So the order is man, wife, children.
Yes.
Except when a battle comes, the man comes here. He doesn't stay in the back, and he defends. We are supposed to be the shield of the family. We're
That's right.
supposed to be the shield
Amen.
of the church, the
Yes,
ministers.
sir. Come on.
And
Amen.
if we assume
Yes.
the proper position in our families, we will not see chaos. I can promise you
Wow.
that.
Come
I know
on.
that. So I just wanted to add that in there because I remember when you said, hey, you want to share something else, that hit me right after you ended. Man, I need to share that. It's been heavy on me because I've really been on this thing about men assuming a position. Too many men have gotten out of the position of where they're supposed to be to protect the woman. And you have to be aware, men, that the devil went to Eve before he went to Adam. Why do you think he went to Eve? Because she's the weaker vessel. That's not a bad thing. But always be aware of those who are closest to you. If you're this strong guy, be aware of your surroundings and how the enemy could actually go after somebody else to get to you. And that's how you just stand in this confidence in the Lord, in this doing these little great things. You know, there are women prophetess in the Word, and there is a woman judge. Is her name Deborah? It's Deborah. The woman judge, you know, and she was bad. She was a bad woman. Like, she whooped butt. So, I mean, I just want to encourage the church. Like I said, I'm about done. I just want to encourage all you guys and ladies that this church is an amazing church. God put it on my heart for a reason. I've been called, you know, that woman kept telling me, Shannon, you're going to be speaking over the youth. And I'm thinking little kids, like my son. I'm talking to kids. But I'm finding more and more recently, I've been actually going into young churches, speaking to young believers, and helping them and encouraging them and saying it is a hard fight. The race isn't for the swift. It's for those who will endure through everything. And through the endurance, through the perseverance, you will have a strength that's unbelievable. Your families will be blessed. This church will be blessed. But you have to know that there's so many more things I could share with you. But if you read even through the Old Testament, these men and women that defeated things and stuff, it's because they called on the name of the Lord.